and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read in Concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're doing a beta read in Concrete. We're looking at a memoir, and we are looking at Chapter 5 of No Ant 5039's memoir, and I'm going to refer to them as Ant, and we are going to dive right in. I will include a link to my reads for chapters 1 and 2. I didn't do 2, we skipped that one, and I did 3, and then 4 was a private video, so now we're on to 5. So the links for the reads that I have done, I will include in the description. And here we go. Chapter 5. Dear Mr. Tender, satisfied with my carefully curated photos and bio, I set my distance to 35 miles. You had driven down to Santa Cruz for a sunrise surf, barely within my radius. Would you believe I still remember the 2 photos you selected for your Tinder profile? Sealing our fate, we both swiped right. On the phone together that evening, sipping my Chardonnay from the bottle, I heard you sniff on the other end of the line. I knew that sound all too well, and it wasn't allergies. What is so broken about my picker that I chronically gravitate to addicts? I interjected, catching you off guard. I had been trying to get away from the drug scene myself, and the caliber of boyfriends I found tangled up in it. Experimenting with significantly lowered the bar, and in moments of clarity I knew I had to get out. Especially after the incident I told you about last August. Granted, still seemed recreational, even glamorous, the come down put me on the edge of a psychiatric crisis every other time. Never again, I had promised myself. You were worldly. I'm sorry, I'm going to try that again. I kind of was thinking, I don't know. I almost thought you, and then a period, and then, you were worldly. It's correct the way you have it. I don't know why my brain did that, and it messed me up when I read it, so I apologize. I'm going to try that again. You were worldly, well-rounded, and refreshingly kind. I didn't want to repeat history, but we were deep in conversation, and I wasn't ready for bed. A warm flush spread across my cheeks, igniting a pleasant haze behind my eyes. At least you were forthcoming about your habit, I thought, contrasting you to former lovers. We live over an hour apart. It's not like this would ever amount to anything. What's the harm of talking? You were a romantic and went on to juxtapose, Melissa, oh my gosh, okay. You were a romantic and went on to juxtapose love to a fire. All these years later, I couldn't paraphrase your ideas as the wine stole my memory. Despite the coke confession and distance between us, I went to bed with my lips thinned into a smile. After a few more battery-draining phone calls, we opened up about our drug use. Exposed to in your late 30s, the habit seemed to suit you. It nurtured your creativity and poetic rants. I kind of want it to be that version of suit that Grammarly is also suggesting. So I'm going to note that right there. I'm going to keep rolling. My first was, hands down, the best high I ever had, and it was a hellish grief I couldn't get there again. As I listened to you reminisce about Big Sur and the New Year's party, my mind drifted back to my own first time 6 years before. I was barely 25. Gazing into the tempered blue glass, the orange flames refracting off the shards in an alluring display of magic mesmerized me. Everyone nestled up to the brick rim of the fire pit, talking over one another and sharing rings of calamari and seasoned French fries. If Veronica walked off a page of an Archie's comic book in human form, it would be Nina. She sat across from me on Isaac's lap, wearing a pistachio green pencil skirt and bright lipstick. Love this entire paragraph. This visual is fantastic. A people pleaser by nature, I had always been sensitive and little pretentious. If I ever dared try drugs, I imagined it would be with my childhood best friend, who had an affinity for stimulants. I had been around them with her, but never participated. The thought of being out of control scared me. Not to mention, I found my relationship with alcohol sufficiently nourishing. Nina filled my position at the front desk after I got promoted to the sales department. While I barely knew her, I didn't expect her to have an 8-ball in her purse. The opportunity unfolded so fast, I didn't even have time to psych myself out and get nervous. We left the brewery for the nearby dive bar, named after a city in Spain. You won't feel out of control. Sorry, We're missing a little apostrophe there, and my little dude is suggesting it as well. You won't feel out of control. If anything, you'll feel enhanced clarity, she assured us. Oh, wait, who else is with you? Hang on. Boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo. This is... All right, so we got Veronica. Okay, Veronica and Nina. All right, gotcha. So this is Nina telling you... Nina assuring you this. I'm guessing she's assuring you and Veronica this. Okay, let me go back to my line and try again. You won't feel out of control. If anything, you'll feel enhanced clarity, she assured us. Oh, and it might make you need to poop. Some people get the... She cautioned, laughing at our stunned expressions. I'm wondering if we need a comma here as well. Usually when our dialogue kind of like ends, I feel like there's a comma there, or either that or the ending punctuation, but you've got she cautioned, so I feel like you might need a comma right there as well. We're going to keep going. Jenna was on board, and that was enough for me. The familiar bar had a brick facade and shared a wall with a lamp store that was never open. The entry hallway twisted into a dimly lit room. Behind the bar was a tapestry of a bullfight scene that looked like a mural after enough drinks. Within the single-stall bathroom, Nina used the paper towel dispenser as a table to shape 4 lines on her compact mirror. 1 for Jenna, 1 for me, and 2 for her. Okay, wait. I thought of... Okay, so Jenna was on board. Where did Jenna come from? Gotta back up. I got Veronica here. Wait, that was from Archie's comic book. Right. Okay, so that was Nina. Nina resembled Veronica. Okay, so that takes me back to when you mentioned us. It was not Nina. What? Okay, got it. My brain has caught up now, except I'm still wondering where Jenna came from. When did we have Jenna? This was you talking to him, and then I'm guessing you've gone into a flashback. Where did Jenna suddenly pop up? Did I miss it? I don't think I missed it. Okay. When you said she assured us, I wondered who the us was. And then I misrationalized. Nina looked like Veronica. Got that. So I still go back to who is us. And now I'm gathering that us is Jenna and you. But when did Jenna enter the chat? Basically, that's my question here, in here, somewhere. And I hate to mess with that glorious paragraph, gazing into the tip of glass, the orange flames. Everyone nestled up to the parapet. So we introduced Nina, but I didn't know who everyone was. I just figured, I kind of imagined like a group, but we didn't peg anyone but Nina. So then I followed along with Nina. Somehow we got to work Jenna into the chat right up here. So when we reach us, I know that it's you and Jenna. Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep rolling. Jenna was on board, and that was enough for me. The familiar bar had a brick facade and shared a wall with a lamp store that was never open. The entry hallway twisted into a dimly lit room. Behind the bar was a tapestry of a bullfight scene that looked like a mural after enough drinks. Within the single-stall bathroom, Nina used the paper towel dispenser as a table to shape 4 lines on her compact mirror. 1 for Jenna, 1 for me, and 2 for her. You locked the door, right? She asked without waiting for confirmation. She rolled up a $100 bill and lunged her nose to the mirror, eradicating both rows in one whack. I brushed the loose hairs out of my face and brought the 100 to my nostril. Careful to create a seal with as little contact as possible, I inhaled with more force than necessary. Distracted, waiting for my expectations to meet reality, I stepped out of Jenna's way. I breathed fresh paint and nail polish remover, smells that now give me a pause, more than a decade later. Euphoria rushed through my synapses, with it an intense clarity. My confidence escalated as my lips twisted into an excited smile. We left the bathroom and stepped into the hallway transformed. Isaac had caught up to us with a round of shots. Out back, we joined a crowd of some familiar faces as a salty drip formed down the back of my throat. A feeling of unshakable confidence stood out most as we circled around talking. My mind thought faster and deeper. My jaw contorted and shifted to one side in rhythmic clenches, but the self-assurance invigorated me. This is, to this day, the moment of the evening I tend to visualize. romanticize the high point. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. I have ponderings. All right. Euphoria rushed through my synapses with an intense clarity. We have mentioned the confidence twice in the paragraph. And because it's what you're feeling, but there's something I'm missing from what you're feeling. Okay. Let me just break it down for a second and kind of muse through it. Euphoria rushed through my synapses with it an intense clarity. My confidence escalated as my lips twisted into an excited smile. I kind of like that line for the rush. Like it just kind of hits you all at once. We left the bathroom and stepped into the hallway transformed. Isaac had caught up to us with a round of shots. Out back, we joined a crowd of familiar faces as a salty drip formed down the back of my throat. I like the description there. A feeling of unshakable confidence. Okay, so we're telling this feeling of this confidence. You've got a description of sensation. I want to know your thought. Like, in this moment when you do this, and I'm guessing this was the first time you kind of implied that above, and you're kind of recalling this first time. Euphoria rushed through my synapses with an intense clarity. You described kind of what you smelled after you did it, or when you did it. Euphoria rushed through my synapses with an intense clarity. There's a couple things I'm wondering. Back here before you did it, like you said, you did not have a chance to even think it over. You were like, I didn't even have time to psych myself out and get nervous. I like that line. It kind of says, like you didn't even have time to think about this. And that about your decision to do this. You just didn't have time. You just kind of like followed along. So I'm going to roll with that. Because some of the questions that kind of go through my head is like, what was your literal thought when you made the decision to proceed? And I'm not saying it belongs right here. I'm just saying, what was it? And maybe back there where you said you didn't have time for thought. And so when you say you didn't have time for thought, I'm kind of inclined to let that question go, but it is a reader musing. And then here, Jenna's on board. You're like, sure, if Jenna's doing it, I'm doing it. Well, that makes me wonder, who is Jenna that you're willing to go along with whatever? And then the familiar bar had a brick facade. Got the description. Okay. And you lock the door and you're doing it. Okay. Euphoria rushed through my synapses with an intense clarity. So I'm imagining a rush. Your confidence, so like you get this clarity, confident. I like the way your lips twist into an excited smile. I can almost envision like a nearly giddy kind of, I get a giddy kind of expression from that. We left the bathroom, stepped in the hallway, transformed. So now you're like amazing. Isaac had caught up to us with a round of shots. Out back, we joined a crowd of familiar faces as a salty drip formed down the back of my throat. So we got an internal sensation. I wonder of the thoughts. A feeling of unshakable confidence stood out. Okay, so we're describing confidence again. Maybe what I need right here is when all of this hit you, and maybe when you're high, you can't think these things, or maybe you don't. But I wonder, do you think, wow, this is amazing, or, oh my gosh, something. Just what is your internal thought? And it can be that simple. And instead of saying a feeling of unshakable confidence, I can do anything. See, instead of saying a feeling of unshakable confidence, you could have the internal thought, I could do anything right now, anything. I look amazing. I'm feeling good. This night is so on. Any of those thoughts give that same portrayal without you having the repetition. And then, we've got the trickle down the throat. So I'm liking that. We're going to keep going. I think I need an internal thought right here. Stood out most as we circled around talking. My mind thought faster and deeper. Okay, so when your mind is thinking faster and deeper, what is that? Because it's almost like a spiraling in its own sense, like a spiraling of thoughts instead of like your actual life spiraling out of control, which is like, this is the preface to, you've got my mind thought faster and deeper. What are those thoughts? It's okay to pick 3 of them or 4 to show the progression of how wildly your thoughts go, if you can recall them. I think it takes your reader on the ride with you through the experience, which is part of this whole entire process. This whole thing that you're doing right here is literally taking the reader on your journey. So, those are my thoughts so far. We're going to keep going. My jaw contorted and shifted to side to side in rhythmic clenches. I like that because you are not able to control that, and that is a side effect, and I like it. Very good. But the self-assurance invigorated me. To this day, the moment of the evening I tend to visualize, romanticize the high point. Okay, yeah, I think if we get that little tuck in right there of those couple of suggestions I had, I think that's what I'm needing from that paragraph. We're going to keep going. The bar was long closed. Oh, I've been kicked out of bars. Okay. The bar was long closed. We strolled the 2 blocks back to my 3rd floor apartment. Now, I'm just going to, when I say that, yes, I have been bounced from the club. And yes, I have shut down the club. Okay, there we go. Back on track. The bar was long closed. We strolled the 2 blocks back to my 3rd floor apartment. Someone snored faintly from under a sleeping bag on the opposite couch within the cramped living room. Jenna's big brown eyes met mine in acknowledgement of dread for the infringement of morning fast upon us. My skin buzzed, not with energy, but with the aftershock of it all. Tension radiated along the outside outline of my jaw and down my neck. My thoughts chased each other in circles, landing with a fixation on the passing time. Pounding with consistent force, my heart threatened to break free from my chest. This couldn't be normal. Okay, so now you're going to experience, and so began my love-hate relationship with this. Okay. Are you going to get to the part where you eat yourself or your roommates out of house and home? And yeah. Okay. My thoughts chased each other in circles. That was sarcasm. I apologize. I lived through that experience. I wasn't the one doing it. I was the one on the, hey, I just stocked this refrigerator and everything is gone. What happened? Okay. Let's see. Tension radiated along the outline of my jaw and down my neck. Okay. So I like this, but I want to know what these thoughts are. Of course, you're giving it to me here though. So I kind of like it. I think it's okay. I think if you back here, where I asked for what were the internal thoughts and the kind of spiraling of those thoughts, I think you're going to be fine here after giving me that to kind of give me, the reader, the sensation of what exactly are these thoughts? What are they? What were you thinking? What did one lead into the other? And then you wonder how you got from here to there. That kind of circling in your mind, literally whatever it is those words are. It doesn't matter if they make sense, not in this situation, because they might not, you just wonder what those thoughts are. You can tuck some in here to show that, and not necessarily right before you say, because this would become telling if you did that. If you tuck them right here, this line is going to suddenly become telling. But almost, I think if they were back here when I first asked for it, it might be fine to just say it right here. Like this whatever was happening up here is continuing to happen here, unless the nature of the thoughts change between here and all of a sudden here. Like up here, what were they? They were whatever they were when you were super happy riding the high. And then down here, you're starting to come down, and your thoughts might be seeming to turn a little bit more paranoid, maybe, worrisome, random or nonsensical, whatever they might be coming down here, it might be worth it to show the contrast. You're describing it just fine. So if you give me the thoughts up here and they kind of are still the same kind of thoughts happening down here, you could probably just state this line. Otherwise, if they're different thoughts, go ahead and let them pour out so that we get the full experience of the ride. Okay, I hope that's helpful. We're going to keep going. So now we've got another break. So we had the flashback. I'm wondering if now we're back into the present with our letter to Mr. Tinder. Okay, we're going to keep going. A vibration buzzed through my hand, coaxing me back to our phone call. Glancing down, I saw the rectangular icon on my screen transition from white to red, indicating low battery. I couldn't believe you never experienced the jaw clenching or anxiety from drugs. Your come down was nothing more than a state of exhaustion. Lucky. We were giving the long-distance thing a fair shot, and in between dates, it was getting harder to hang up the phone. The shabby chic hotel you found in Santa Cruz was a great halfway point. By the time I arrived after work, you had set up hors d'oeuvre platters with olives, homegrown sun-gold tomatoes, dried apricots, and cheese. The square glass table by the mini fridge where we would use together for the first time was cluttered with a spirograph doodle kit and neatly arranged lines of blow. Our stay was as random and wonderful as the geometric masterpieces we created, with my memories blending into a kaleidoscopic haze. There was a playfulness and safety with you I had never experienced, but the come down still left me tinkering with Klonopin like a mad scientist. I have to dig deep into my memory, past the smoked Gouda, midnight walk to the beach, and white linens to see the swing of the pendulum. I almost forgot about the Q-tips of coconut oil to soothe our nostrils, and scrambling out of the mosaic walk-in shower, pins and needles on my hypersensitive skin from the water droplets. Beautiful. Beautiful. Very well done. And not only do I like this, but I also like this play off the spirograph into the kaleidoscope. I like this a lot. Not to mention all that food just sounds yummy. Okay, we'll keep going. That first year was a complete whirlwind romance. Lust, travel, more thoughtful appetizer dishes, and an array of drugs piloted us closer to insanity. Sitting in the life I have created, I feel a little guilty to admit these were some of the most thrilling, beautiful months of my life. I pictured the blood orange moon rising over the ridge at the pot farm in Big Sur. We had attempted to get sober after St. Patrick's Day, but the opportunity to cut loose presented itself that warm June evening, and life was for the living. We agreed. Your friend finished construction of a yurt, and we were welcome to stay. The place smelled like sheetrock and dust, a forgotten mouse carcass pinched in a trap in the corner, but we were so wildly turned on, the world beyond the bed ceased to exist. Sweat glistened behind my knees and between my breasts, with my hair falling forward around our heads. You'd grab my neck and pull me in for a kiss without losing rhythm. My brain put these memories in the forefront, neglecting the mind sickness that would wash over me, having been awake for some 40-plus hours. The exhaustion mingled with my demons, my self-hatred and fears. I could feel the blues coming on, zoning out the window in the car ride home, pouty and detached. Appetite still suppressed, my body was deteriorating. You had to get back to the Bay Area, and I was scheduled to work at 8:30 the next morning. Going from the bed of the yurt to loneness, that polarization, it was more than I could bear. I would see myself at it from outside myself, hovering over my body detached. It's the exhaustion, it's the rhythm, the organic cigarettes, it's all the contradictions. Something has to give. Okay, so I wonder when we where is it? Where am I looking? On your down. And honestly, he's kind of a high too, because he's like an escape. So it's like you've gone on this escape with him. And the relationship is kind of escapist. It's running from whatever. Let's live for the moment. And then you have to come back to reality. And it's as downer as when the drugs wear off. Let's see. And then we have to live with the havoc it's wrung on our bodies, which is the worst part. Okay. My brain puts these memories in the forefront, neglecting the mind sickness that would wash over me, having been awake for some 40-plus hours. I'm looking for the part where here we go, right here. So when I read this, the exhaustion mingles with my demons, my self-hatred and fears. I wonder What is it that in your mind, what are you saying to yourself? Literally, what are those thoughts? Your words together are beautiful. And I love your voice. Like, I love it. But on this line in particular, when I read it, I immediately wanted to know what were your thoughts. Okay, your exhaustion mingled with your demons, your self-hatred, and your fears. And I wanted to hear your internal thoughts rambling, all the different things that our mind goes to, where you as you're watching the world go by, because you're zoning out the window on the car ride home, as you're watching the world go by, what are you thinking? What are those words? I can't give them to you. I can't suggest them to you because I don't know them. So when you were looking out that window, what kind of thoughts were going through your head? And I want you to share them, because that takes us on your journey with you. You've shown me your path that you're walking, but I want to hear what's going on in your head. And then when I get that, I will be completely invested in you. Does that make sense? I mean, I hope that makes sense, but like, I'm getting the sensations. You're giving me your world. You're painting it beautifully. Your words go together stunningly. Your voice is just excellent. Like, it's very saturating. But I want to hear your thoughts, and then I will feel like you're right beside me, if that makes sense. I'll feel on this journey with you, or like I'm walking this path with you. So that's what I need right there somehow. And I know I've asked for them a couple places back, but you have different states of mind in different parts. Like, you had the up, and then you had the down, and now you're having probably the heaviest down, because this is the end of this little foray. Okay, not necessarily forever with him, because we haven't done that, but I mean, it looks like we're headed for it, because you're telling me something has to give. But you're at a different part of this journey, and this might even be the worst part, because now you're not getting an up again for a minute. Not, at least not with him, because he's going back to the real world and you're going back to the real world. So the party's over. You're on a down. Your thoughts are probably pretty terrible, to be honest. I'm expecting. Throw some in here, and then see what it does for you. See if it does what I'm thinking it's going to do. I could be wrong, but I really think it's going to clinch it. Great chapter. Your visuals are absolutely, this is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful writing. So, oh my goodness, I don't want to skip ahead. Okay, so what was I just did chapter 5, right? All right, I'm done. I'm done with chapter 5. Okay. It was a good chapter. I'm ready to keep scrolling on, but I'm going to stop. So, thank you for trusting me with your words. I will talk to you soon. Readers/watchers, thank you for joining me for another episode of Mystery Read Reads, and I will see you guys next time.